What's going on, everybody? We'll do this one on objective and subjective reality, how quickly magic can work, and a few other questions that people had. One was a statement that the mind controls everything, that there is no real substance in the world, that you caused the poison. And to that, I'll just simply say, go drink yourself a bottle of bleach and see how that works. See what you can do about that, and literally go stand in flames. See how that works. So, there are substances, to a degree. Again, we know at the beginning of all of this, the source, the prime source is the mind. But there is the unfoldment from the subjective and the objective world that seems to be in front of us. That I'm sitting in this chair, it's an object, it has its reality, it's not disappearing anytime soon. Is it because I don't want it to? Is it because there's a lot of reasons for this? But how quickly we can make magic is really what it boils to. It boils down to the alchemy and the condensation and the concentration of something, and how quickly we can alter space and time, how quickly we can alter objects, and to what degree do we have sorcery over the elements. How much are we being the god architects that we are, and how quickly can we change things? How quickly, as I've spoken about before in alchemy, and concentrating things and speeding up processes. It's a very interesting place when you start making magic happen at a very high rate, at a fast pace. And I've talked about this before in a way, speaking about urine therapy and how quickly, when my body would be cleansed, how quickly I could make things happen. And so was that my mind cleaning my body and then believing through some sort of placebo effect or nocebo effect, making something not happen or making something happen? I mean, surely that's part of it, but the physical landscape does exist, whether or not we want to call it an illusion or not. Come see me and I'll throw a chair at you. I mean, I'll pet you with there's so many things that there's no altering it that quickly. I mean, maybe not just yet for everyone. And then to what degree can we alter these things? So I'll talk about the magic this way. Something that it's a story that I told in one of my other videos, but it was so profound. It was out of control. It was in control. I had done some very intense magic a little while back that enabled something for me. And since then the outcome of it has been intense, to say the least. I was sitting in a restaurant with someone, and I said the words, "It's going to start downpouring, and it's going to rain upon my head right now." And in 5 minutes, that exactly happened, indoors in a restaurant. Now, there was another part to this where I was speaking forth someone's dream, and I said, did your dream make what I'm going to do, what I'm going to say happen? Like, afterwards, I was like, was it your dream that catalyzed this, or was it the magic that I did a little while back that actually increased my abilities, where I said, it's going to start raining, and it's going to rain on my head, and it did, and it flooded the building. It couldn't happen. It's unreasonable. It's not even. It's in the scope of how could it where possibly would the roof leak a little bit? Would it be over there? Would it be over there? But it's exactly where I said it as soon as I said it. So there is some sort of, as I've said before, some people control objects. I've always had more of a control over future events and ideas, and I've pulled that into some other things that I won't reveal right here. In the future, I might tell people about it and explain to people. But nonetheless, this event took place in a very, very It was very fast. It happened so quickly. And I've had other events that some that I've spoken about before, and some that I haven't. That it just, and how could it happen? I spoke it into existence. There's other things I've dreamt into existence, but there's others that that was just too synchronistic. So that is all about turning things into subjects of yours, turning the objects into your subjects, and turning what you think is some sort of outside something into something in your mind that you can morph. And how quickly can we do that in this density? The other day somebody was speaking about it, and okay, we're on the third dimension, we're in 3D, but it's more or less the third density, and there's a fourth density and a fifth density. And I've kind of explained this in other videos about the densities, but it's very simple if you think of it in terms of octaves, in terms of like a piano, and as the keys go up and how quickly the vibration occurs. And so our thought forms might... Here's the strange things about having psychic powers or having different chakras turned on. I might be having a very high level of vibration in my thought forms, but my physical body is in a lower density, so I could produce effects differently, versus if I was vibrating, if my telekinesis powers would be up. But if I traded in the vibration or the quickness in my brain or my mind or any of those organs for lower organs, I would be producing something different as a result. Maybe I was hungry, and I could manifest food easier because there was a wavelength that connected to that. Or maybe something sexually that I wanted, that I'd be able to manifest that quicker. So in the larger scheme, the larger arena of the mind and producing magic, and this, I could even get into Ormes a little bit here. Somebody wanted me to make a specific video on Ormes. And Ormes means orbitally rearranged molecular structures, basically. And Savan Bomar did a video on this a while ago, explaining that there's different types, and you have to know where it's coming from and how is it washed, and there's a lot of things that go into it. But essentially, all that it really comes down to is the rearrangement of molecules. Getting to, as Ormes is usually spoken in the same breath as monoatomics or monoatomics, meaning you get it down to the most essential element, the single atom. So mono, single, moon, single. So the single element, the single atom. And so if we can address in magic, if I look at a chair, instead of looking at it as a collection of different atoms, if I look at that as one piece of whatever the thing is made of, and I can look at and participate and focus on that one element. In the same way, if you were to hit a middle C on a piano and there were 10 pianos in the room, they would all start vibrating in the same way. So you don't need to control the entire, and this is really leveling up for people to start to figure out how to affect, control time, reality, space, and atomic structures. Is you don't need to connect to the whole thing. Like you wouldn't need to connect to the entire vehicle. If you looked at it's all made of the same metal, you'd have to connect to one atom in there, and that one atom you'd vibrate differently in your mind, and it would by proxy, because it's of the same exact thing, it would start vibrating that way too. So you don't actually have to move a 2,000 pound object, because getting even farther in this, there's no weight to anything essentially. There's no weight to that. It's the one atom that makes up is empty space, and it's really not even there. It's just your thought of it being there. But as we consider this, we're at a density that allows us to change outcomes in a more proficient way than to actually mold matter in front of us because of the density that we're on and the density of the matter. This is why if you get out of body and you're literally on a different, you're in a different realm, on a different frequency, on a different, instead of saying you're in the third dimension, you'd be on the fifth, the sixth, the seventh dimension, or density. You'd be at a higher density. So you're able to affect things in a lower density easier. Because you're moving at a different rate of speed, you're moving at a higher rate of speed. And so this goes into thought. If your thoughts are moving at a higher rate of speed, you can affect thought forms and events in the future. And this is what, because more of my power has usually been, my power kind of goes in between my red, my green, my blue, and my purple chakras. I've always bypassed the orange, the yellow, and the orange and the yellow are ones that are often overlooked in me, or the blue. Not so, like the throat chakra is good, but then I get up to the psychic centers and that's very high. But then they're kind of just, I kind of jump over those sometimes because the effects are, if you work from the purple category, you're affecting psychically different. If you use that, if you connect that to your red chakra, your lowest chakra, you're kind of binding the lowest and the highest together so you can make outcomes happen in the physical world in a faster way. So this monoatomics, Ormes, we're rearranging the structures. I'm sure someone wanted me to speak, and so I'll do a video specifically on Ormes, but I want to break it down this way, and at least for this video, to connect it to monoatomics and orbitally rearranging all the molecules and the structures by just looking at one thing and affecting that. And if that one thing gets connected to the mind, and the mind gets connected to that, and then that one thing vibrates with everything else that is on that harmonic. And so most people, as I've tried to make very clear, on this dimension, on this density, can affect future events because it gives you a wavelength, so you don't actually see the thing take place. If you wanted to see a yellow car manifest, and I want to see a yellow car, it'd be easier to, because I can't see around the corner right now, so who knows what's happening around the corner, but maybe there's a yellow car. There quite possibly is a yellow car turning down the street right now. I can't see the magic happen. I don't know how it happened, but should a yellow car come upon me right now if I focus hard enough on it? Versus change this car in front of me to yellow. It's already in my mind a little bit more of a that's a little harder to do. It'd be much easier for me to just go, oh, of course a yellow car could pass me if I wanted it to. Oh, here it comes right now, yeah? So think of events in space and the frequency of pulling something to you. My earlier videos, I'll readdress these. I did the boomerang effect, and I did some things on reality manifestation and how thoughts and colors and frequency and time plays out, and this is all played out, and how we're able to consciously pull things to us as magnets and push things out of us as electric. And yeah, I guess this is about as far as I'm going to go with this right now. We'll chat soon, guys.